Good morning. Today I'm going to demonstrate Perspectium Replicator application integrating Salesforce with Tableau. And the use case here is there's times where Salesforce users need to be able to report on Salesforce data outside of Salesforce using an analytics application, other reporting tools, etc. And so we're going to be using Tableau as our analytics application, which will be reporting against Salesforce data made available to us by Perspectium Replicator. Before we get into the actual demonstration, I want to talk a little bit about the Perspectium Replicator architecture, just to help us understand how this works. We utilize a message broker service, which handles all of the incoming and outgoing data. And we host that, so you don't have to set up any kind of server infrastructure to handle the integration data traffic. We also provide in-app integrations for a variety of applications. Today we'll be showing that within Salesforce. We also do have an in-app integration with ServiceNow, and we can push data and receive data from a variety of other data sources, including other applications. And for this use case, a database in which Tableau will be reporting against, which is MySQL. Of course, we support Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, etc. The idea here is that by providing in-app integration, you'll be able to utilize your own Salesforce technical skills to be able to set up data sharing and the ability to subscribe to data all within the application without having to leave it to utilize another integration technology, create by coding any kind of integration through SOAP or REST or even exporting and importing of data. You don't have to do any of that. We handle all that for you. So this really provides the control of data back into the hands of the data owners themselves. Okay, and so we use this visual here to demonstrate that, to just describe a little bit about how we're architected. Again, no need for coding. We provide this as a service. Well, here we have the Tableau report that we'll be utilizing for our demonstration. As you can see, we're utilizing a map of the United States to visualize our data. We'll be using two of these tables, the account table and the case table. This is coming from Salesforce. So we're able to see where our cases are being opened geographically across the United States. And that's because they're tied to an account, and the account is part of a city. So I could begin immediately to open cases and even create new accounts and create cases against those. But what I want to be able to do first as a data owner within Salesforce is set up what I want to share. So I would utilize the Perspectium Replicator application inside of Salesforce. You'll notice that when I navigate to the Perspectium Replicator application, I have a couple of options. One of those is to set up a dynamic share or set up a bulk share. A dynamic share is a real-time share of data, and we'll be utilizing that today with this demonstration. And a bulk share allows me to schedule or immediately run a sharing of a bulk of records based on a filter to the message broker service, which then allows it to communicate or send that data to whatever other data target you specify. So let's come into dynamic shares. In here, we have a couple of these set up already. One of those is I want to be able to share my cases to a database. So I created a share case to DB. I also have one set up for my accounts as well. So account share DB. You can name these anything you want. If I open this up, it's a pretty simple and easy to understand interface. I'm able to come in here and specify, when I edit this record, the name of the share, what table is it that I want to share this data from. In this case, I chose case. I also have specified certain triggers. I want to be able to send a case record when it is created, when it is updated, or even when it's deleted. I want to remove it from the target sources. Now I have two options with Perspectium Replicator. I can send this message, which is what we call a record that has been shared. The first thing that the application does is it converts it to a message. It then encrypts it with an encryption key that is held within Salesforce, and then it's sent to the message broker service. That way we're never holding unencrypted data, holding any of your unencrypted data. And that key is something that you hold. We have no access to it. I could send that to the message broker service and allow the routing rules to determine that any other target that is currently subscribed to that data to be able to pull that data from the message broker service. Or in this case, I've utilized what we call a target queue. So I want to send this directly to, in this use case, my database so I can run Tableau against it. Okay, and that's where within Salesforce you can set up your queues under this menu item right here. I could also create a filter so that I could say that maybe only those that have a priority equals and whatever value I want to include here are the only cases I'm going to send. Okay, and then we can also add to that filter utilizing this where clause. So this is my dynamic share for the case table. So if I come back here, I have this all set up. I'm ready to go. Okay, and the same would be the case for the account table as well. I could come in and also create a bulk share, and this is where I'm able to come in and specify, very similar to the dynamic share, the name, what table, and then I can also, once I run it, get a status back as to whether it's been completed. I can target a queue, and then I can include a filter as to which records I want to send in that bulk share. Okay, so I've shown you the shares, and they're all set up. I'm ready to go ahead and send my case records over to the database so I can run Tableau against it. So the first thing I want to do is come over to Sales Application. I want to take a look at my current cases, and I can see here that we've got several open already. If we were to come back over to the Tableau report, we can see that we have some in Montana, in California and Georgia, Atlanta, San Diego, and Billings, Montana. We don't have any here in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. And we currently do have an account over there. It's not showing up because we have no cases open for that account. So let's go ahead and open up a new case. And we'll go ahead and specify the Philadelphia account. All right, and it's going to be electronic, and we're having some performance problems, and the case origin was the phone. And over here, we're going to say building locks are slow to engage, and go ahead and hit save. When I click on that, Perspectium Replicator does a few things. It finds that dynamic share, and what it does is it creates an outbound message. And here we have an outbound message that's been created. What this outbound message is that it goes ahead and takes the value of that that case record, encrypts it, and this is what it looks like. This is what's going to be sent to the message broker service. We also have a small header so that we know where to route it. But in regards to the data itself, we'll never be able to see it. Even though the message broker service is hosted by us, we have no access to your data. As you can see now, the message is gone, and that means that the message broker service has consumed it, and it should now be within Tableau. So if I were to come over here and refresh my report, I will now see that I have a medium case created in Philadelphia based on the share that I had created within the Replicator application. Okay, and so that's a very small demonstration, but powerful use case for those who would like to create reports, run their analytics tools against Salesforce data without having to go into Salesforce itself. Of course, what you can also do is begin to combine this with other data coming from other applications, which we also support with the Perspectium Replicator applications, to create a much larger, more complex report combining a number of different tables.